Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, February the 12th. It's about to be 10 a.m. And, well, I'm not making this video because it's 2 days from Valentine's Day, which I want to wish my wife a happy Valentine's Day. I hope that we have a good weekend. So, the topic of today's video, health coverage for all Americans. So, this year was actually the first year that I've had health insurance. Up until this year, we just couldn't afford it. And it's actually pretty crazy that this year of all years, I finally was able to afford health insurance. And only to find out that even when you have insurance, it's almost as if you still don't have insurance. And I'll explain a little bit on that, a little bit more into this video. But let me go ahead and start off with the most basic. So prior to having insurance, back when the Affordable Care Act was around, because I didn't have insurance and because I didn't qualify for the Affordable Care Act, every year at the end of the year, come tax time, we were given a $700 penalty for me not having insurance. And I remember clearly saying, man, I have no idea what the point of this whole Affordable Care Act is if, one, I don't qualify, and two, I don't make enough money to pay for insurance. And to top it off, we're levied a $700 penalty at the end of the year come tax time. So I was never in agreement with this whole Affordable Care Act. I never saw the purpose. I just couldn't see things clearly. Well, back on January the 5th, and I remember this day clearly, I had just finished videoing, making a video for the sale of the RSX, one of the cars, the vehicles that I'm selling. And I got done shooting this video, and I got busy wrapping up a part that I had sold. So, as you can see here in this clip, here I am packaging up this evaporator canister that I bought, this smog canister, whatever it's called. And I was busy, and as you can see, my wife is standing behind me, and it's a little bit hard for me to talk about this, but I had my back towards her when all of a sudden she had a seizure. She fell face forward, and it was just dead weight. And it hurt me so much because I was too busy, distracted, packaging up this item I had sold, and I wasn't there to catch her. So we turn her around, and naturally, I'm panicked. I'd never expected to ever see my beautiful wife go through that. So I turned her around. I went to go get our vehicle, and I rushed her to an urgent care. And I got it. I was speeding to get there, unsure of, her possibly having a stroke or whatnot. Like I said, I wasn't even familiar with what exactly had happened. All I know is that this is my wife's life in my hands. And I get there, and clearly it's an emergency. She's out of it. She doesn't even know what's going on. And both the physicians and the medical staff that was there on hand would not take her in. They were so concerned as to whether or not we had insurance before they would admit her, before they would render medical care to her. And as you can imagine, during an emergency, who has time to get your card, your wallet, your purse, whatever it is, your insurance card, and rush to the ER? So these people practically refused to render aid over their concern whether they were going to get paid or not. And as you can imagine, I was furious. I was so furious that we actually ended up leaving the urgent care and going to an ER. See, I thought that that she would receive quicker help by going to an urgent care instead of taking her to the ER, and I was wrong. At that point, that day, I felt as if I had failed my wife. And I never forget how I felt from these professionals who were more concerned over receiving payment rather than caring for the life of a fellow human being. And that is the point that I realized that the Affordable Care Act was no longer about me being selfish, having to pay $700 at the end of the year, whereas on the contrary, people who previously couldn't afford health insurance had health insurance. Now, since January, I've been meaning to make this video to make it clear that the burden should not go to the government, because obviously that would fall along socialism. But the government possibly should do something, figure it out, work with insurance companies to where everybody, it doesn't matter how poor you are or how rich you are, receives universal health care. Now, I know it is going to take some very smart people to figure this out, but it is possible. When it comes to caring for a fellow human being, to rendering aid, greed should never play a part in preventing somebody from rendering aid. So, another thing. My wife, she's been sick since she was 5 years old. She had some form of the herpes zoster virus, which every year, practically every year, and especially this past year, she gets shingles, and she suffers from trigeminal neuralgia. And as you know, we are experiencing a pandemic. And this year, her sickness just really flared up, preventing her from handling her responsibilities at work. So, fortunately, or we thought, she pays insurance. She has disability insurance, which would cover her in the event that she's unable to go to work. So back in December, she actually got sick in November, but it wasn't until practically December that as far as her being excused on paper, that everything went into effect. So she did not receive a paycheck for the month of December, and fortunately I made a couple of sales that were able to cover our expenses for the month of December. So since November, she had been going back and forth with her insurance, her disability insurance, her doctor, having to fax in paperwork, we come to find out just yesterday that her disability insurance denied her claim. So that means those wages that she lost in December will not be recovered. And I think to myself, what's the purpose of paying all these insurances if they're not there when they need you, when you need them? It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I'm going to go an extra step and tie this into all insurances, and specifically even vehicle warranties. Another issue or case or situation that I wanted to speak about was recently when I had trouble with my own vehicle. I went to a local dealership and I went in there explaining to them that my vehicle is still under warranty. So they made the repair, and according to the service agent who helped me out, he said my warranty did not cover this. Well, I ended up having to pay $500 out of pocket. Afterwards, after they had made that repair, my vehicle was still having the same issue. So I took it to another dealership, and there at that dealership I come to find out that my vehicle was under warranty and I should not have paid those $500 out of pocket. Well, we tried to recover those $500, and according to my insurance, my warranty, because the claim was not made at the time, which obviously I had no control over, I had already informed the dealership, it was no longer valid and I would not receive a reimbursement. I'm not the kind to want to fight, especially with a dealership, when obviously these are people who are responsible to the customers, who obviously made the mistake, and yet me, an individual, a customer, still had to pay. You know, this dealership at the end of the day only offered to reimburse me half. And you know what? At the time, it was better than nothing. But the point that I'm trying to get across is that Americans need health insurance. We need to set aside selfishness. We need to set aside greed. Because when people are in need, the well-being of people is greater than money. And my second point is that insurances, these people are very dirty. These people, it's almost as if you're paying these insurances for nothing, because at the end of the day, they don't step up and they always find an excuse to not pay. So what is the purpose of paying these insurances if at the end of the day they're not there for you when you need them? So my message to everybody is I suppose reevaluate the reason that you're paying these insurances, and sometimes you might want to forego even getting these insurances altogether. That, and I certainly hope that this new administration does something to provide health insurance for all Americans. Figure it out. I know there's an income gap as far as inequality, but the well-being of the people should always take precedence over greed, and especially, money or payment. Anyways, I really hope that everybody is going into this weekend ready to just enjoy it with their family. And as always, I give thanks, praise, and glory to our Father for blessing me with life. Y'all have a good day.